and welcome back to the channel. I am talking really quietly, and if you do hear bangs, it is people out shooting at the moment. It's just shotguns, and hopefully they're shooting up in the air at things and not anywhere near this wood. Now the wood I'm in is actually accessible land, but I don't think they really care. They've been firing really close, and the pellets have been coming down through the trees, but we shall see. There you go. I'm out today to test two new pieces of kit that I've got. It's always been an interest of mine to try, and it's when you hear the one that's just behind us there. Yeah, it's always been an interest of mine to try and get a hot tent and a stove that I can pack into my old Berghaus, the old Cyclops backpack that I have. That's a backpack I use when I'm out doing sort of bushcraft stuff and sort of, I would say, semi-stealth camping, because where I live there is hardly any places, woods etc, where you can go and actually camp these days. Everything's all private. In fact, I am very close to Guy Ritchie's estate. If he's anything like his movies, he's a kind of guy you don't want to upset. But yeah, this part here is fine because it is accessible land. It's not fine to camp on, but it is accessible land, so you have a right to move through it freely. Yeah, the tent I purchased is the Hidewalker 1. It's a TP tent. It's classified on Amazon as a hiking, fishing, hunting sort of tent. It does come with the old stove jack in it, and everything that you need, and it does come with a one-person inner. Now, I haven't used it yet, I haven't set it up. That's what I'm going to do today. The stove that I've managed to get my hands on is the Pomoly Titanium stove. The one that I have is the TI Mini 0.6. Now the 0.6 is allegedly the thickness of the titanium on the actual stove. So I'll be building that up for the first time. I'll have to, I think the word they call is season the actual stove before I use it. That means putting a small fire in it, not a big raging fire, because once it gets heated up, and if you put too much in, you can warp it and it will stay like that. So it's quite important that you just put a small fire in and then let it completely cool down before you actually start using it. The tent, yeah, it'll be the first time I put the tent up. I'm just going to set that up without the inner in it at the moment, and we'll have a look at the inner later on. But I'm very aware that it is to chuck it down in the next hour or so in this area where I'm at today. I'm either going to get soaked or shot, one of the two. Right, so there you are. I've got the tent up, the Hidewalker 1 hot tent. Now it's a one-man tent. You can see there, it's got quite a bit of room. It's got a centre pole which is 4-piece. At the top of that pole, there's a little polystyrene ball to stop the actual pole going through the top of the tent. The material it's made of is sil poly, so it's a step up from sil nylon. If you've used sil nylon, when it gets wet, you know it sort of sags quite a bit, so hats off to them there. Both doors will open, so you can actually have back and front, but you can have the two zips open completely on both sides. It's got little tie points there and there, but if you look at the tie points, there's a little bit of, I don't know, the light's quite bad in here, but you've got just this tiny little bit of plastic that looks very flimsy that the tie goes through, so I would look at that. It is attached to the seam and it's been seam sealed over, but it's just like a very, I'll put my finger on this part here, very, that's a better picture, just with a plastic loop, but it looks like it would only take a wee pull on it and it would snap. As you see with the tent, it's octagonal in shape. It has two vents, one above each door, and inside both vents there is mesh. Probably a bit too dark to see, but it is sealed up, which again is a bit of a bonus if you're anywhere near Scotland where the midges are rife. What it doesn't have, what a lot of hot tents have, it has the I don't know what's the proper name for it, but the snow plate at the bottom. It flicks out and then you obviously keep it down in the snow. This is not even ground. This tent will touch the ground. As you see, some parts of it is on the ground, and obviously this is just a wee bit uneven. Now you have the cover for the stove jack. The pole comes in 4 pieces. It's silver. Now the inside of the tent, this is where I found it a bit unusual, is silver. It's coated, painted, I don't know what they've done to it, but that is going to be probably a bonus. I would say it's a bonus for reflecting the heat, but I'm not too sure if that'll probably reflect it in something this size a wee bit too much. It does come with tie points. There's one at each side of the door, so there's 4 tying off points, and then you have the tie off point and the roof there. Now the tie off point and the roof you can probably use for like hanging it from a tree, but I wouldn't be using the stove if I was hanging it from a tree, because if that goes, then you've got a tent on top of a hot stove, and that's a whole world of a disaster. Right, the hydrostatic head is 3000mm, but unfortunately it does not give you its denier on it at all. I can't find any information where it says if it's 10 or 20 denier. Now a 3000 hydrostatic head, yeah, it's about normal for these sort of budget tents that you get. Yeah, it's got nothing at all, no information whatsoever what denier it is, but it is ripstop. You can see that, yeah. It is a ripstop material, so set up, it's not too bad, it's quite roomy. Right, so that's the pegs you get 18 pegs with it. They're about 8 inches long. I don't actually use these. I wasn't going to try to use them either. I use these 12-inch ground stakes that I have here, just because the ground here, obviously it's layers and layers and layers of dead leaves. You don't really get a good purchase on it. Yeah, so 18 of them. And this is the guy ropes. There's 2 guy ropes in there. Quite weighty, but they are, yeah, pretty obvious. Not the best thing for stealth camping, to be fair. Again, apologies if you hear all the shooting going on around us. I'm going to stick the inner into the tent just shortly, and then we'll take another wee walk round and look at that. But first of all, because I'm really starting to run out of light here, I'm going to go and have a look at the Pomoly Pomoly lightweight titanium stove. Right, I'll try and do this without dropping it all over the floor. As I say, it comes in this little flat bag. And inside you have, first thing is a pair of gloves. Now these are the sort of safety gloves you would call them. They're not, I don't believe they're fireproof for any minute, but it is, while you're handling the stove, it can be very, very sharp in areas. So you get a set of gloves with it. You have the stove. You have the adjustable flue on it. That is the spark arrestor, as they call it, and that's just basically stop the sparks going down onto your tent and burning holes through it. And that is the stove pipe for it, which is about 2 meters in length. Now this one, when we were unrolling it yesterday, when we were unpacking it, we did notice it had a hole in it, so we'll probably end up sending this one back to be replaced. Look at the stove pipe, it's rolled up in the opposite way that you need to roll it. Now when you get it like this, the idea is to roll it the opposite direction to make it flat before you roll it up. Now I've had an attempt to put this together, it is very, very difficult. I will not be putting it on camera because it will be a bit of a mess. So with it you get 6 of these securing rings that go round it once you've rolled it over. Yeah, once you've been using it, once it's brand new out of the box, you've got to season these. They will retain the shape, sort of thing. So if you crunch it up, you can see in areas there, mine is all crunched up. If you crunch it up and then put it on the stove and start using the stove, you're going to end up, it's going to stay in that shape. It's not going to be a straight flue, as they say. So it's always best to get this bang on. As I said, I will not be doing that on camera. I will be doing this off camera because it took ages to do yesterday. I've looked at a few different videos online that shows you what you have to do to get it into shape. But yeah, once I'm comfortable of a best practice of putting it together, then I will do it to camera. But at the moment, no. Right, the stove comes with little Velcro straps on it. You adjust. With mine, it come with a lot of this packaging, but we just left it on there for the time being. Mostly to stop the noise of it rattling about, but it was not too bad. Right, so this is where the you've got the flue gets put on. So you've got these little screw on nuts here. And you just put that on there. Take it off just now, I'll lose it. So you have that's the top piece. I'll go at the bottom here. And this is your legs here. Now on the legs you've got little holes as well, so they're used for putting the little shepherd hook type tent pegs through for securing it to the ground, which is quite clever. You've got these parts here, there are just to strengthen up the actual body. This is the base of the actual stove. Yeah, so to assemble the actual stove, again it's lift up the sides here. Now it will be a wee bit stiff because it's new. I had difficulties putting this side on a couple of times. It has got little retaining bits there. Now to lock it in, you've got these little clips. You just turn them round. I'll shut that door over. That's for the roof ones, these for the back. Again, just a little clip that holds it in, and same on this side. Again, just be careful with your fingers. With this one, there's not many rough edges on here, but you can feel it a little bit. So if you're not too confident that it's not sharp, I'd wear the gloves. I will definitely be wearing the gloves when I take it apart once I've used it. So that's the body of it here. You get a little catch for releasing it there. I think I might get one of those little, what they're made of. So like a little ball that doesn't conduct heat. What's it made of? I can't remember what it's called. But you can get one of them and stick that on there, just to keep your fingers from getting burnt. Normal vents here. Slide back forward, you've got glass there and glass on the side here, which I like. I mean, there's not much difference between the properties of the metal and the glass for retaining heat and projecting heat as well. Glass is a good conductor as well. People that are into your BTUs and all that sort of stuff, I don't know what they are, but we'll soon find out. I'm hoping only to burn very small fires in this. I'm not going to blast it all out. Right, the lid, I'll call it the lid, the top of the stove. Again, we're back to the little clips. Same on this side. And that's it. All put together. It's a little stove. I'll just put what we used to call, I don't know what they call it, but is it a baffle, I think they call it, or flue, is you would have traditionally on a fire. I think it only goes on one way, so you can see in there you have the baffle here. Now, I know they kind of work on normal coal fires. You've got the flue at the back that you pull out just to let the airflow go through to draw the air in and get the fire going, or more oxygen, sorry. Or in the case, turn it down so you're not burning, so you're burning a bit leaner. I'll have a look at that and see what it's like. Getting closer. I'll be sitting on my lap soon. This one's not sitting quite right. Don't want to mess the thread up. And that's it. So that's the stove all together. I like that. It just makes things a bit more comfortable. The one that I had before was a cast iron, big heavy thing. You just had the little window at the front which was broken. Yeah, but it weighs in total 2.2 pounds, so that's not bad for a little stove. Using the stove, you basically, when you put the chimney in, if you want to call it that, it's got to have at least 2 feet above your tent, so that the sparks and stuff, if it goes up through it, when it goes through the spark arrestor, doesn't come down and touch the tent and put holes in it. And then when it's inside the tent, you've got to have at least, I think, a foot clearance all the way around. So from, if you've got the tent side here, it's got to be at least a foot away from there, so you don't actually damage the tent. What I normally do is, if I've got a lot of wood with me, I'll stack the wood at that side of the tent, so it sort of absorbs that bit of heat, not the side. But there you are. Right, so let's see. That's a stovepipe chimney all put together. As you can see, it's quite difficult to get right the first time. That's all over the shop here. I'm probably going to have to take this apart and try again. and there as well I've got a wee bit of kink in it there. But if you don't get this right the first time, it'll stay that way basically once you heat it up. But it's fine, that's fine up here. It's just when you get further down, I might actually start rolling it from this side, see if I can get it any better. You can see, don't know if you can see, but there's the stove's kind of installed. I'm going to have to play about with that, the jack, but the spark arrestor or the ember arrestor, call it, so you get these 3 clips with it. Mine's aren't in the bag, so I can only think that they're lying at home, but the clips go through here, and then you put guy lines on it, and that holds your chimney sort of steady. You don't want it too tight, you just want it enough there's a tiny little bit of movement in it. And then before you put it on top of your stack, obviously if you put it in your stack it will slide all the way down. You have these little pieces here, you just push those in, and that'll get it to sit on top of the stack without shutting it off completely. Like that. So you've got those little pieces there. And then you just do the little wires just clip in as well, which keeps your stove steady. Right, so that's the stove in. Getting a bit dark, starting to lose light a wee bit. Yeah, so that needs a bit of work, the stovepipe. This is where I had an issue before, where the rock fortress, this here fell on and got melted, and then it dripped like plastic and it melted through the tent, which wasn't fantastic. You can see all the dinks and stuff. It's never going to be perfect, I don't think. That's quite bad there, it needs to be fixed a little bit. Maybe. Might have to slide some of these up a wee bit. Yeah. Definitely in order to bring them up. Right, so go and collect some see much of there, but yeah, go and collect some firewood now, I think. Right, so that's the season burn, as they would call it. That's getting all dirty already. Yeah, just leave that to burn itself out, and then let it all cool down before you put a big fire on. I mean, that's only kindling that's in there. Obviously you can slow it down a little bit by closing the vents at the front, and if you want to slow it right down, you've got the flue at the back here. My god, that's toasty. Yeah, I don't like how that is so close to there. So much heat we're losing out the top. Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, that's boiling. Toasty, toasty. Down the bottom there, once that all burns in, it'll go dark. And that's the end that you basically keep using for when you're doing the connection to the actual fire from the chimney. Right, so this is the inner that comes with the tent. So you need a separate peg at this end and at the far end, and it's well more than a foot away, absolutely more than a foot. It's, I don't know if you can see it, but basically you have a, behind that light there, you just have a quick release clip, and there is a hook up there as well for hanging your lantern on. And then inside it is 2 meters 20, so it takes the full length of my thermarest there. So this mesh, this is not lightweight at all. This is the one thing about the inner, it's not lightweight material at all. It is so bulky and heavy and thick. I mean, the bathtub there, there's no seam in the bathtub. It is one piece. You get seams at the edges obviously, but there is no seam. It is a one piece bathtub there. You have, again, like the same sort of bathtub material there for condensation. Not that you're going to get a lot of it if you've got the stove on. So that's the stove's all cooled down now, so I can get a fire on. Get a fire on and get some tea on. Yeah, and the pegs at the back here, you've got elastics, so these have got elastic cords on them already. You just hook them onto the existing peg that you've used. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not saying it's quality, it's durable. I think this is not your lightweight mesh at all. It's dark in colour as well. You see how much space you've got in the back there. You can probably store equipment there, probably put little bits and bobs there as well, but for a one person tent, yeah, this will sleep too. 100% this will sleep too. You won't have a stove, but it will sleep too, definitely. Right. Time to get some tea on, I think. Right, all fed and watered. Apologies for the close-up. probably not what you want to see. Right, so I'm actually sitting in this wee tent now. Where I've got the fire, which is just down there, I could probably turn that round the other way, and that would give me a lot more space this side to stretch my feet out and stuff. Yeah, quite impressed with it. Temperature wise in here at the moment it is, don't know if you can see that, see if we can get out to go on. Oh, that's a nightmare. You can see it is 28.8 degrees, so it's a bit warm. To be fair, which would be great if it was sort of winter time, but it's still, I think outside it's 16 degrees. It's to go down. It's said, that's why I came out this night, it was said earlier on that it would go down to 6 degrees. That looks like it's not going to happen, so once this log burns out on here, I'll be done for the stove, because I'll be I think be warm enough without the stove on. I'll get up in the morning, I'll make something to eat, I'll let you know how it felt to be inside the silver on here. I've just noticed one of the seams here, so all the seams are flat sewn together, but this one here isn't. A bit weird. I'll show you in the morning what I'm talking about, but yeah, there's just this one seam that's completely different. Right, I check out for tonight, and I'm sitting in a t-shirt on, that's how warm it is in here. It's absolutely boiling. I think I've got a wee bit of wine left. I'll finish that off, and then I'll check in with you again in the morning. Good night's sleep last night. Woke up about 2:30. It was really cold. It was probably about 6 degrees. There was no rain. It was supposed to rain. But the clouds cleared right out. The quilt I've got with me is only really rated to be comfortable down to about 8 degrees. That's the one that I had out a couple of camps ago that I was testing it out. I thought I'd chance it with having the stove in here, but the stove went out just after 12. The last little bit of embers in it, and I didn't put it back in. Just thought I would coast it through because it was actually quite mild. But did it drop? Yeah, it did. It was cold, so I think next time sleeping bag will be coming with me. I've got an old, I think it's a Polish military one that I've got that's really good that I use for the hammock camping. Anyway, yeah, last night, my days. 10:30 in here, this place absolutely comes alive. You have got all manners of birds in the air, all manners, owls. The owls are amazing, you can hear them communicating from miles and miles away. Deer came through, there was a hare literally about 10 feet away from us, just sitting there. Pheasants just wandering through. I think they're just trying to get away from the guys that were shooting us, so they were all hiding in here. The deer went through last night. You can hear them. They're not as quiet as you would imagine. But yeah, it's an amazing little bit. This little triangle of wood. It's tiny. It's probably about 200 metres from one end to the other. So it's quite an amazing little place. Yeah, this morning I'm going to try and get this stove up to temperature, and I'm going to try and bake a roll in it. I'm going to have a traditional Scottish breakfast, which is square sausage, brown sauce, a roll in butter, and a can of iron brew. Yeah, it's been about 4 days since I came back down from Scotland. It takes me a wee while to adjust to being back down south. Right, some sort of bird of prey there has just taken out a pigeon, and the pigeons just fell into the bushes to the left there. But the bird of prey's not coming down for it, so I'm going to have a look and see if the pigeon is dead or alive. So this is a pigeon that the hawk got up in the trees and it fell through. I don't know if it was a hawk or it was some bird of prey anyway. Its both wings are absolutely mangled. So unfortunately I'll need to put this out its misery. Poor wee thing. Right, so that's your shop bought Asda Scotch roll, as they call it, and that there is traditional Scottish recipe. You usually get more burnt on the top, but don't want to leave it in there too long. Now that's nice and soft on top. When I looked in the ingredients in this, The one thing that's missing is lard, so that has lard in it, mixed through it. I'll put the recipe down the bottom there. And that actually, nice and soft. Once it's cooled down a bit, I'll open it up and we'll see what it's like on the inside. Right, taste test time. So that's been made in the stove, and that's shot pot. Both have butter and brown sauce on them, so there's no cheating in the taste there. And I will be honest, right, so the Asda one, can't believe I'm doing a food review. So the Asda one, very dry, I mean awfully dry. One hour by a country mile. Right, I've disassembled the Hyde Walker 1 hot tent, so I'm just going to show you what you get when you buy the tent. So it comes with a carrier bag. It is sort of waterproof material, but again, anybody that's got something for China that has these seam seal bits on it, you know it's not waterproof, the water will get through. When you get it all packed up, it comes with a quick release strap there, wrapped around to hold it all rolled up together, and it fits in the bag. It comes with the 4 poles. You have one pole which has this pointy end on it for the top. This little part, very important, that goes on top of here when you assemble it, and that's to clip the inner onto. It comes with your stove jack there. Yeah, obviously I've used mine. The tent, you get 4, these are 2 sets of 2 guy ropes that comes with it. You get 18 pegs with it, it comes in its own little bag. You have this little foam ball that goes on top. It goes on top of here when you put it up into the tent. The top of the tent, it has a little inner hook as well on it for hanging lanterns, etc. Just to be aware of that when you put that on there, because I did squash it down a bit. You get the inner and a full set of instructions. Now, the instructions are actually quite good. Again, suggests that you pitch it on flat ground, which we all know when you're wild camping never happens. Now the total weight, it did say that it was I think 2.2 kilograms, so I will go back and I'll weigh it and I'll stick the actual weight of it up on the screen now. Right, that's my little adventure with the Hyde Walker 1 over and done with. Now got somebody cutting trees down in the background. Yeah, first impressions of the tent, it's a very robust tent. I'd say it falls in between a sil nylon and a canvas tent weight wise. The sil poly that's on there is heavy enough, it won't sag when it's wet. The coating that they're putting inside, like the silver, I don't know what that brings to the party. If it does reflect the heat about inside the tent, not too sure. Last night it was just one log at a time. As soon as it burnt down to embers, another log got put in, and it was a consistent 30 degrees in there, just probably too warm to be fair. Yeah, the build quality, very robust, very robust. It's not lightweight material that's in there at all. I think I'd be looking at swapping my Lanshan 1 inner for the inside of it, just for the windproof factor. That inner has got, the back wall is all mesh, and when the wind did blow through underneath the tent, it was blowing straight in there. So I think I'll probably swap that out at some point, which would probably reduce the weight in it greatly. Further testing I'm going to have to do in it, it has to go out in the rain, 100%. Next week we're looking at a lot of rain down here. I've got the Yonshan 2 sitting waiting to be retested from its little leak that it had to make sure that that's all done. So I may take both of them out and just stick them out in the rain for 24 hours and to see how they got on. The Pomoly stove, yeah, cracking. It's brilliant that I can fold that up and fit it in a backpack. Absolutely cracking bit of kit. Bit of work to do by me to try and regulate the heat a bit better with it. Understand the baffles and the vents at the front. It's slightly different for the old one I had. I didn't have a baffle, it just had the vents, and you just kept it that way. You just opened it up to get it going, then reduced it down slightly. So I'm going to have to watch a few videos on that to find out where I'm going wrong, and to try and stop the glass from smoking up. It probably smokes up all the time, but it'd be nice to have that feature there. It brings a bit of light into the actual tent, and it's quite aesthetically pleasing, let's just say that. Yeah, once again, thanks very much for watching. If you do like the content, please like and subscribe. It will help to grow the channel. I'm still looking at trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of this year, so that would help greatly. If you get any questions about the stove and the hide walker tent, please stick it in the comments below and I will try and answer you. If I'm doing something wrong, again, stick it in the comments to let me know what it is I should have been doing, because I'm always good to get some constructive feedback. So I'm going to head on my way now. Thanks again for watching. Take care, everyone.